Hey everybody, welcome to D'Leau, my Substack. First of all, I just want to say thank you for all of you who subscribed and who, paid for a subscription. I appreciate you all. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. I will do some high-low stuff, audio only, video only, vice versa, and some written work. So just stay with me. This will all make sense somehow. I left Twitter because it's a horrible place. It's a place where I don't engaging in just in general in that type of medium is just awful. People try to impose their hurt, their own confusion and delusion and put it onto you and expect you to figure out their own delusions and all that other shit. And I'm divesting from all of that. I feel like most of my life I've been on social media in some form of fashion, right? I've been on the internet longer than I should have been, or even before I should have been. And now it's time to take the reins back and cultivate a space that is safe ish because it's still the internet, but also have a space that makes sense. And I also can control and have this area of my own, our own, because you're all a part of this with me, where you're not going to be weird. I trust you that you're not going to be weird. So, thank you again for coming along with me. And this is where I'll be primarily on Instagram because, I'm gay and I like looking at butts. And they have a lot of butt on Instagram. For and that's non-gender specific. Women, men, non-binary, eggplant, pumpkin, peach, ninja turtle, whatever the fuck. It's all there. But you can find me there and mainly here. So I just finished watching the latest episode of Love is Blind. Spoiler alert. Okay. What I This is my first time watching, and I've made it very clear on my Instagram lives that I hate reality TV shows where love and marriage is the prize, because love and marriage should never be a prize, because both of those things are fucking hard work. Why would hard work be a prize? That's like, ooh, you get to pick cotton. No, 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 no. The ghetto. No, stop that. And also, all of these people that get on these shows remind me of how lonely and desperate we are as a society. And how some people just need to go outside and get a fucking hug. It's easier to find sex than it is to engage in general conversation and get a hug and have some non-sexual and platonic intimacy. And that's what's fucked up with the world. And I say all that to say Love is Blind is a microcosm, a cauldron of fuck shit that represents all that, right? So in this latest episode, we're getting to the goods, right? We're down to Clay and AD, Miss from Like Water for Chocolate and Greater Value Shane Top, and White Natalie Nunn, and I forget, Standard Issued White Man. So we start the episode with some shit, which I did not see coming. Oh, I did not see coming. I I kind of did. Let me not lie, but I thought it would be on the other end. So last episode, Chin and Standard Issue White Man are, like discussing like, are we gonna go to the altar? Because I don't know how you feel. And the Standard Issue White Man is telling that to White Natalie Nunn, aka Jay Leno, and female Jay Leno drops Diamond was like, yeah, I'm down to, I feel like this is gonna work, and you're my person, and blah 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 blah. Standard Issue White Man issued her an eviction notice. He said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know where your head is at, but as of right now, girl, this ain't gonna work out betwixt you and I. Why? Because you're the fuck crazy." Not in those words, obviously. But you're the fuck crazy. And Mama could not, she had to pick up her chin off the floor because she was gooped, gagged, and disgusted at the truth. Because Standard Issue White Man, laid out all the cards and was like, hey, you question our love, and asterisk. Every time I say I love you, you are up here just creating wild shit in your head to have arguments to somehow make me prove my love to you even harder. Like, that's fucking weird, bro. Like, have a backbone. I tell you this, I'm committed to you, I'm here, but you don't see that. So you could take your insecure ass and I know you work for Spirit, and get the hell on. And I gotta be honest with you. Standard Issue White Man dodged a bullet, because there's no way that someone should be with somebody who just weaponizes tears. And of course, we all know that, a certain type of person does that. Like, that's their thing that they do. These people are young enough to realize that they're worth more. Eh. Moving on to the wedding day. Um, I'll skip past Standard Issue, Greater Value Shane Top, and Like Water for Chocolate, because they did get up and get married, and they were very boring. Production had to, it was like pulling teeth with them. They had no storyline. All their story was like, we use prayer and the pull-out method because we don't want children. I don't give a fuck about that, and nobody else in the world does. Like, they're such a snooze fest. Womp womp. So the blacks. So they're getting ready for the wedding ceremony. I was very nervous because they was doing 80s hair, and we all know. So she comes out, and it doesn't show that she has edgerexia. And so I was fully, invested. I was like, Monty, AD is body yaddy yaddy. Her mama, who looks like Olivia Pope's mama, and old girl from News Radio, old school reference. And everybody looks like they smelled like cocoa butter and some sort of Japanese cherry blossom, or some Jackie Aina candle. And I instantly knew some bullshit was about to happen when his daddy showed up on screen. Why and how did I know I have that feeling? Because this N-word showed up with an Alpha Phi Alpha pin on his lapel. I gotta be honest with you, Chiefs. I understand that Greek life is important to a lot of people, and it's important to blacks. I don't know why, but I get why, right? However, after a certain age, when you start wearing para, it automatically gives me this idea that you have you have an issue. I don't know what it is, but you have an issue. Just like I believe that you shouldn't trust grown men who wear bow ties if it's not in a formal situation. You know it, and I know it. I don't even have to explain why. So, any fucking way. We get down to, the AD's mama. They're all having a black lady courtroom kind of situation. And, they're like, oh, I met his mama. She's great. And I should have known, like, this is going to be, like, some esteemed black people shit. And we'll get to that in a second. But we get down to the altar. We're still weaponizing therapeutic words, because that's the theme of this show. Because fuck therapy, fuck the profession, because what's the point if people are just going to bastardize the whole community and whole profession and whole science of it all? But anyway, we get down to it. AD's looking fabulous. Clay is kind of looking on the tasty side, like he usually does. He's not a bad looking gentleman. He's just rotten here. And so, we get down to it. We get to the altar. We're saying yes. AD is like first. She's saying yes. I agree to being with this nigga I've known for 17 days. And it comes to Clay. And Clay's like, it is irresponsible for me to say yes at this time. And of course, everybody's hurt. Her mama is like, well, let's go. She got her purse. Everybody's just looking at her funny. And I get the embarrassment, right? I totally understand this idea. You got me up here because what's black people's number one thing? Don't have me out here looking fucking stupid, right? Understand. However, we're already on a show produced by Nick and Vanessa Lachey. So there's already an element of already the fuck looking stupid that you've already subjected yourself to and you've signed a contract for. You know what I mean? So therefore, you got to kind of put that shit out the window. So, AD is hurt. Her edurexia is beginning to show. But Clay tries to explain himself. He explains, like, do I love her? Yes. Am I fully, deeply in love with her? No. Am I fully committed in here for her? No. Primarily based off the fact that I've only known this lady for less than a goddamn month. Now, I understand that's the point of this show. And he's not wrong. Heterosexuals have this thing that they do. And they treat marriage like it's like a Pez candy dispenser, right? It's super disposable and blah, blah, blah. And of course, they attack us gays for like, oh, no, it's for us and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you could do that shit all you fucking want. Talk about man and woman. Why? No. Y'all put yourselves through hell for no reason. And I gotta be honest with you. It would be irresponsible for both of them to have gotten married. Clay was right. I mean, outside of his issues, which we'll talk about in a second, they don't know each other. He was like, I don't know her finances. Super important. We're building a life together. If we're going to be married and married forever till death do us the fuck part, then I need to know every in and out of you. Pause. I need to know general things, right? And it doesn't sound to me that they knew a bunch of shit about each other that you would not learn unless if you were stuck on an island if you were marooned on an island like fucking Survivor, or if you had dated at least a year or two. Does that make sense? Like, I get AD was so upset and she feels less than, and all these other things, right? And I understand that, and she has every right to feel that. However, what's the adage? Sometimes a blessing is a prayer unanswered. And she has to look at this in a logical way. Like, she comes up here and is like, there's no way I would have ever done this because he would have never swayed my decision. Yeah, he should have. There are certain things that you don't know about him either, that you have not learned in the course of a month. Like, you cannot tell me a healthy, loving relationship, a marriage. I can understand falling in love in a month. Sure, that's fine because love knows no time. But marriage does. And so they get back to talking, both Clay and AD, and he's trying to explain himself like, I wouldn't be. He admits that I'm going to go to therapy, and which he should. But again, what's the point now? Because y'all done bastardized the whole goddamn profession on this show. But anyway, he's telling her all these things, and that's another thing. This whole dynamic experiment is based on finding out and telling people what they want to hear in order for you to be a success story and not be embarrassed on international television. And that's not something a marriage should be built upon. Sometimes relationships and marriages are built on embarrassment. Well, not built on, but sometimes those things happen. Sometimes players fuck up sometimes, and you work through it. This is why we need to cancel Black Love. But things happen. But you cannot grow and learn from them in fucking 3 weeks. You cannot. It just doesn't make sense for either party, right? And so, of course, Clay is like, I'm not leaving her. I'm really want to just do this right. And I agree. And I hope AD sees it this way. I hope she doesn't feel like she's less than. I feel like she too should go talk to the lady and figure out why she's so giving. And I get love is like a roller coaster. You got to love roller coasters to be on. But again, love and marriage are two separate things. And Clay kind of identifies that here. And I, love. I just want all of them to figure themselves out. I don't think that either of them are horrible people, but I do think they need to work out some shit. And this leads me to the final conversation, which was the most powerful and impactful out of this whole goddamn series. And that was the conversation between divorced couple Clay's mama and Clay's daddy. Clay's mama is very much like, he's absorbed a lot of our issues and plugged it into his head. Clay told us in this episode that his daddy used to bring him along when he was cheating on his mama. You stay in the car, son, while I go visit Marie or Marguerite, because that's usually what their names are when they cheat. So that can have a great impact on how somebody views relationships and marriage, because my daddy is bringing along me to have sex with another woman or be with another woman while mommy's at home or at work or doing whatever, And so his mother brings up that point, like, I know we've been divorced for a while, but I just learned some shit that I didn't know about. And I see why our son acts this way. And of course, his father was like, well, I told him it's not in his heart. And, he got to find somebody like his mama. And his mama was like, yeah, find somebody like me. But you didn't treat me right either. And what pissed me off the most? And I got to be honest, sometimes we always say that white women weaponize their tears. You know who weaponizes their tears more than white women? Black men. Because black men aren't supposed to cry. And heterosexual black men are supposed to cry, right? Allegedly. And here comes this old man with the worst excuse ever. He said, "Well, I didn't have a positive influence growing up to understand and teach me how to love and be a husband and stuff." Stop it right there, senior citizen. If you are sitting up here spewing me this, knowing damn well you can eat at IHOP half price on Tuesdays, she should have shot him in the fucking face, because you're not going to sit up here and do that to me. You don't have to teach people or have a role model in your life to be a fucking decent human being and not cheat on your spouse. Why does somebody need somebody else to tell you how to do that? How do you need somebody else as a role model to express or tell you to teach people how they want to be treated? You know? So I don't know, man. I this show is a roller coaster, and I hate that I'm watching it. I don't know if I'll ever watch this show again, because what the fuck for? But I'm gonna come back after the reunion and give my final thoughts. Hopefully, I'll have a guest with me here to do it. But I just wanted to give my thoughts. Again, I'm here weekly with either video or post, a written post or audio with some guests or even maybe myself. So again, thank you for joining me on this journey, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.